Love in the Midst of War. Chapter 1. The Wounded Soldier. In a land torn apart by conflict, James, a soldier from one faction, was gravely injured during a fierce battle. His squad, though brave, was no match for the relentless enemy forces. As he lay on the battlefield, his life hanging by a thread, his comrades could only hope for a miracle. Nurse Nancy, a compassionate healer from the opposing side, was dedicated to her mission of aiding the wounded. Her village had been ravaged by the ongoing war, but her resolve to save lives remained unshaken. When James was brought to her, his condition was dire. She worked tirelessly, her skill and tenderness shining through despite the grim circumstances. Chapter 2. The Healing Touch. Nancy's care was nothing short of miraculous. With each day, James's wounds began to heal, not only thanks to her medical expertise but also due to the warmth and empathy she provided. As he regained strength, he started to notice Nancy's kindness. Their conversations, initially focused on recovery, evolved into deeper exchanges. Their bond grew stronger, transcending the boundaries of their respective factions. James found solace in Nancy's presence, and she, in turn, saw a glimmer of humanity in him that was often lost in the chaos of war. Their relationship, though unconventional, was marked by genuine affection and mutual respect. Chapter 3. A Love Blossoms. As James's recovery progressed, so did their relationship. They shared dreams, hopes, and fears, finding comfort in each other's company. James had never imagined that amidst the devastation, he would find someone who could touch his heart so profoundly. Their love, born out of shared pain and healing, was a beacon of hope in a dark time. Despite the danger and the chaos that surrounded them, they planned for a future together. James spoke of a day when the war would end and they could build a life away from the battlefield. Nancy cherished these moments, clinging to the hope that their love could somehow transcend the conflict. Chapter 4. The Call to Arms. However, fate had other plans. The war was relentless, and James's faction demanded his return. He was torn between his duty and his newfound love. With a heavy heart, he left Nancy, promising to return once the war was over. The days that followed were a whirlwind of conflict and destruction. James fought with a heavy heart, haunted by the memories of Nancy. He hoped for a swift end to the war so that he could reunite with her. Chapter 5. The Tragic Encounter. One fateful day, James's unit was ordered to attack Nancy's village. The clash was intense and chaotic. In the confusion, James's eyes were blinded by anger and the chaos of battle. Driven by the instinct to fight, he was unaware of the true cost of his actions. Amid the smoke and flames, James encountered a figure who seemed all too familiar. As the dust settled, he saw Nancy, her face filled with both shock and sorrow. Time seemed to stand still as the realization hit him like a thunderbolt. The woman who had cared for him, the woman he loved, was now caught in the crossfire. Chapter 6. The Pain of Regret. James's heart shattered as he saw Nancy fall. His mind raced, grappling with the horror of what he had done. The love that had once been his source of strength now became a poignant reminder of his failure. He tried to reach her, but it was too late. Nancy's life slipped away, leaving James alone in his grief. In the aftermath of the battle, James was consumed by a profound sense of loss. He had lost not only his love but also a part of himself. The war that had once been a backdrop to his life now seemed meaningless in the face of his personal tragedy. Chapter 7. The Aftermath. James struggled to come to terms with his actions. He was a shell of the man he once was, haunted by the memories of Nancy and the role he played in her death. The love that had given him hope now felt like a cruel joke. The war eventually ended, but for James, peace was elusive. He could find no solace in the world that had once been his battleground. His days were marked by a deep, unrelenting sorrow, and his nights were filled with dreams of Nancy's smile. Chapter 8. The Final Farewell. Unable to cope with the weight of his grief, James withdrew from the world. His health deteriorated, and he became a shadow of his former self. He spent his days in solitude, reflecting on the love he had lost and the pain he could not escape. In his final moments, James found some semblance of peace. He whispered apologies to the memory of Nancy, hoping that somehow she could hear him. As he took his last breath, it was not in anger or regret, but in a quiet resignation to the love and loss that defined his life. James's story became a somber reminder of the human cost of war. His love for Nancy, though tragically cut short, was a testament to the power of compassion and the deep scars left by conflict. In the end, their love was both his greatest joy and his deepest sorrow, leaving behind a legacy of love and loss in a world forever changed by a war.